from Agendia. Who's going to talk about regulatory market access challenges in Europe for diagnostic biomarkers.
Thank you so much, Alain, for having me and giving me the opportunity to tell you something about my challenges on regulatory and market access hurdles in Europe. I also have to make a disclosure like the last speaker. I'm Dutch, so I'm also challenged with my French and Italian really sucks. So I'll do this in English if you don't mind. So I have 12 minutes, by the way, to provide you with 11 years of experience at Agendia and the European hurdles that we experience. So I'll try to make it light. I'll try to make it informative for you guys about what I've experienced in the last 11 years. When I got the title, Regulatory and Market Access Hurdles, I thought like, well, there's only one hurdle, that is market access, because the regulatory hurdle is part of the market access hurdle. The first thing you need to do is you need to acquire a license for your product or a clearance for your laboratory in order to legally be able to provide your services in a country. And then when you have that, then you actually have access to the market. That doesn't mean you will be successful, because there are many other hurdles which you have heard today, obviously, which I will just sum up in a slide. The second one was Europe. Because when we talk about Europe, what does that mean? We always talk about Europe versus US, Europe versus the EU. So I want to give you a little flavor of what that's about. Just a company overview. Agendia is a spin-off company of this institute. I've worked at this institute for 12 and a half years as cancer researcher. We had the opportunity to start a spin-off company based on an invention that we did here at the institute, which was called the Amsterdam 70 gene signature, which we transformed into the MamaPrint test. So that was April 2003. We founded the company and we started in November 2003. So we have two laboratories. One is the Agendia NV in Amsterdam, which is the global headquarters, and Agendia Incorporated in Irvine, California, which is our US branch. I'm responsible for regulatory affairs globally and for the European and Middle East market access, and general manager of the Amsterdam branch. So what do we have in Amsterdam and actually globally? So we have a central laboratory for molecular diagnostic services. We have currently 5 products out on the market. MamaPrint is the most known product, which predicts the risk of recurrence of breast cancer. We have a test called Blueprint, which classifies a breast tumor in 3 types: basal, luminal, and HER2, or ERBB2 for the scientists here. And we have a target print test, gene expression of ERP and HER2. We also are in colon cancer, colon print test, and a theraprint test for metastatic disease. Our company, we have laboratory accreditations by the College of American Pathology, also by US CLIA, and we also are accredited for ISO 13485, which is medical device manufacturing. Both laboratories, as well here in Amsterdam as in Irvine, California, have those accreditations. In addition, we have 5 FDA IVD product clearances, 510Ks, for our flagship product MamaPrint, and a 6th one is pending. So I hope I can promise you a press release this year on the 6th clearance for MamaPrint. We also have 5 IVD CE marks for all of our products. So that being said, when I was only responsible for regulatory affairs, that was quite easy actually. Meaning you get a CE mark here, you get an FDA clearance there, you get your CAP license, and you just hand it over to the marketing guys and the commercial guys, and you say, hey, I did my job, here are the licenses, you're good to go. Now you can go and sell. So when they made me responsible for the commercial organization, then I knew what the actual hurdles were. Because if we talk about Europe and EU and US, actually Europe, I mean, it's a continent. It's a geographical area. The EU is an economical organization, and the US is a country. So we speak about these 3, and we have North America in addition. So we speak about all these areas separately or in one discussion, regulatory, market access, but they have their own challenges. So I was asked to speak about Europe. So so when I was made responsible for the commercial organization, I first wanted to make sure that I understood what we were talking about. What's the responsibility when we talk about Europe? So it's an area of about 10 million square kilometers. It's a population of 740 million people, roughly. 53 countries in Europe. Languages, I put a question mark there. You guys think already, like, how many languages do we have in Europe? We have 7 time zones in Europe as well. So that's already a challenge from a market access perspective. Just to compare, Europe and EU is a economical organization, which is 28 states against 53 countries. And it's less, it's a lower population. But what is the real challenge in Europe? This is scary. This is the scary part. 24 languages, 53 countries, 53 professional guidelines, 53 reimbursement systems, 24 languages. This is scary, and I can see that U.S. companies, when they come to Europe, this is scary, because in U.S., you know, it's roughly just as large as Europe. It's half the population. It's one country. It's one language. And yeah, there are, about 6 time zones, but if we take out Alaska, we're stuck with 3. So from a regulatory perspective, I had it easy, just get the FDA clearance or the CLIA license. For Europe, you get a CE mark, but now you have to actually market it and provide this to breast cancer patients, because that's the ultimate goal. You want to provide this to breast cancer patients worldwide. So what other elements are there to influence your market? And you've heard this today. You know, external factors, reimbursement. You need to acquire coding for your product. You need to acquire pricing strategy, and you need to get coverage, which means you have a contract with the insurer to actually get paid, because getting reimbursement is one, but getting paid is a different ballgame. For Europe, that's a challenge. If you want to go to Germany, you want to get reimbursement there, you first need to go to get into the professional guidelines and work with, in this case, the AGO, which is the gynecologist, because breast cancer patients are treated by gynecologists in Germany, so you need to go there, which is different than the Netherlands. Once you're in the guidelines, then you can get your reimbursement, but they will only accept health tech assessments or technology assessments of German-speaking countries. So you need to do new impact studies. You need to show health economic data, specifically for that area for those patients, which you cannot use in France because they want to see it on French patients. And they want to see you in French guidelines, which is different than the Netherlands. So that is a hurdle. That will drive your strategy where you want to go as a company. Do you start in Germany, where you have the largest breast cancer market, 75,000 patients per year? But there you have your competition, which is also one of the bullet points, because everybody goes there. It's the largest market. You get, you know, the best return of your investment. Or do you first want to go to a smaller country with lower regulatory hurdles or lower guideline hurdles? You want to go to Greece, where you work with KC, or do you want to go to Israel, where you work with the sick funds over there? Very interestingly, we're currently working with Greece and Israel. That's why I named those 2 countries. And one of the things they're waiting for at this moment for reimbursing us, they're waiting for an FDA clearance. And I'm like, wait, this is Europe, you're Israel, you're Greece. Why do you want an FDA clearance? They see more value in an FDA clearance than the CE mark. So that being said, FDA clearance in the US for physicians doesn't really resonate. But in Europe, an FDA clearance is very valuable. So when US companies provide their services under CLIA as a Class 1 or an LDT, they try to circumvent the law a little bit here and there. They're coming to Europe, and then they see that an FDA clearance is actually very valuable here in Europe. And they have to deal with 24 languages and with those hurdles. I already talked about the professional guidelines, 53 countries, so let's say 30 plus guidelines. External technology assessments, which were already addressed. and the competition, you also have to deal with a lot of local competition. So like Germany, the big players are there. You have one local product. When you go to, let's say, to France, you might not see the big players, but you have like a local hospital or a local organization who came up with a test, for instance, KI67, and you have to compete with them. And that is more difficult because, you know, local tests are sometimes or often more protected by the own government. So that is difficult. Then your internal market access hurdles. Your cost and your timelines. As I just said, going to Germany gives you the best return on your investment, potentially, because you got the largest market. When you go to smaller markets, you might not get that return on investment. So what kind of cost do you want to incur? What is your return on investment? How long will it take to get the money back that you're investing? And then, of course, how are you going to do that? Are you going to set up sales organization through Europe? Do you need to set up a sales force for Greece and for Italy and for France, or are you going to try to work with distributors who are known in that arena, who know the reimbursement landscape? Again, you need to, you know, provide them with some revenue as well. You need to train them. So that's also something you need to see. What is best? Own sales force, distribution network. So what happens after? So now you have market access. You got your regulatory clearances, your product clearances. You're successful. You got a sales team. Things are going well. You got all your money is coming, you know, flowing under the door. You're helping breast cancer patients. You know, life is good. But it's a dynamic environment. Regulations can change. That's what we see in the US currently, where the FDA will lift the enforcement discretion over laboratory developed tests. So the companies who are there with their tests, they need to start, you know, providing their data to FDA soon and get clearances. But also other things can happen. Something bad can happen to your product. Just as an example, some years ago, it's not a medical device, but just to give you an idea, McDonald's brought out Shrek glasses which contained cadmium. They had to recall them. That's not a medical device, but what happened in the US was a company called 23andMe. They were not FDA cleared. They did not have any post-market surveillance programs in place. Nothing like that, but what happened, they had a data mix-up, and a lady got a report back of her prostate cancer. So it really happened. She went to the New York Times, they reported it, and 23andMe, they were, excuse my French, but screwed. If you do illegal marketing, you make claims on your product which are not valid, you get big fines. And this is one of the experiences I had, which I saw in the 10 years that I was here. Cheerios, the cereal. At one moment, they made claims like you can lower your cholesterol 4% in 6 weeks. FDA sent them a warning letter. You are an unapproved new drug. These are all kinds of examples which I have in my experience in the 11 years with FDA, with European regulation, with market access. So I think the message is, you know, getting market access, being number one is the start, but staying there, that's the most difficult. So that's a little bit what I wanted to share with you. Thank you.